Have you ever wondered how deep tech companies actually start? Well, we were too.
So in this podcast, we'll be interviewing scientists and entrepreneurs that have taken their ideas out of the lab and turned them into startups. I'm Antonia.
And I'm Christina, and this is Startup the Science. Hi everyone, welcome back to Startup the Science. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have another Where Are They Now segment. In these episodes, we like to reach out to past startup guests and ask them what they've been up to since they were last on the show. On a personal note, these episodes are probably my favorite to create because it's quite exciting to hop on a Zoom call and say hi to all these familiar faces and talk about what they've been up to. So on this episode, we have 5 startups, most of them from season 1, which is exciting. And as I was listening and also putting together all the clips for this episode, I started to notice a common theme throughout all of the updates, and you can probably all guess what it is. If you guess Corona, then you are correct. Though sometimes I myself feel pretty over the COVID theme in general, and I'm saying this while in our second lockdown here in Germany. It was actually quite interesting to hear many different angles and perspectives from these startups about how COVID has or hasn't affected them and their businesses. And on that note, our first startup is our friends in the UK, Thermulon, and their experience with Corona hit them quite close to home. I'll let them explain. So here's all 3 of them, actually. Rosalie, Sam, and Alex of Thermulon.
Thanks, Christina. Yeah, it's been quite a year for us. I guess I should probably just remind people who we are and what Thermulon does. So at our heart, we're a process engineering company that's reducing the cost of aerogel building insulation materials. So currently, if you want to insulate a building, you either need to use high-performance plastic-based materials, which are combustible and are actually being banned in a lot of European countries for certain building types, or people are going back to old-school materials like glass fiber, rock wool, mineral wool, which are inherently non-combustible, have great fire performance, but are really low thermal performance, and so using up huge amounts of wall space. And so what we're doing is we're taking aerogel materials, which are inherently non-combustible and some of the highest performing materials in existence, and we're developing new process chemistry to bring their price down drastically. And that is really what we're doing as a company. We actually met a year ago at ADMACON for the first time as a team. So convinced Alex, who is our resident chemical engineer, to quit his job at Hatch in Canada and hop on a plane to Berlin and join us for the ADMACON Accelerator. And then also convinced Roz, who I'd met a couple of days before the accelerator started, who was looking for roles in business development, to just come to Berlin and join Thermulon. And it's clearly been a success because we are the core co-founding team now, myself, Alex and Rosalie, who have been pushing Thermulon forward over the last year.
Yeah, so ADMACON was actually quite a big moment for us as a company because it was a place in 2 weeks when we had the time to actually sit down and go through all aspects of the business, to go through the chemistry, to go through the process scale up, to go through our IP strategy, and also, to consider all the things that are really specific to material and deep tech startups, which is, how do you align your business strategy and commercial outreach with your production capacities? And that's what was quite special about ADMACON for us, not just all of us meeting for the first time. We've formulated all this, and with a solid business strategy, we actually could go off and start fundraising. So straight after ADMACON, we went into full-time fundraising. We had a plan at the time to close our seed funding round in March or April of this year, which seemed like a really good idea at the time. Little did we know that we will set the time of the closing of our seed round around a week after UK goes into full lockdown. So it was a pretty intense time to be fundraising. But at the same time, it was a real testimony to the investors that we chose to work with. So we've got some brilliant people who supported us in the round, including Sustainable Ventures, who led the round and who we work with very closely ever since. But it was a pretty crazy time. I mean, like both Sam and Alex actually had the corona while we were closing, especially Alex. I mean, I haven't heard from you for like 2 weeks then.
Yeah. Thanks, Rosalie. Yeah, definitely having the coronavirus there at the end of the funding round did add another dimension to it. But as you said, we pulled through, and obviously ended up okay. But yeah, obviously it was a hard time for a lot of people, probably most people more so than us, because I think in the end we were able to put a positive spin on that time period, because we had just done the funding round at that time, and we still do have a good outlook for the next sort of year and a half. And we took some time to really think about our goals and do some planning and strategy. And what we ended up doing is we brought some new and existing partners on board. We brought on Imperial College on the chemistry side, and then a company called Best of Lime that works in insulating lime plaster formulation. And we went in on some grants together because there's been really great support for R&D companies in the UK, especially since the lockdown. We won some of them, and they're just kicking off now. And it's really to focus on the optimization and scale up of our core process over the next year or so, and then also putting those materials that we produce into lime plasters to do our first, full insulation projects. So we're really, really excited about that. And I think Sam can give some detail about how that's going at the moment.
Yeah, so although this year's been a bit slower than we perhaps would have hoped, it has allowed us to do that step back, and we pretty much doubled our money with the grants. And so we've still been continuing tech development with a company called Centre for Process Innovation. They're up in the northeast of England, and they've been really doing some of the core development work for us as they've been open the whole time of during the pandemic. We just hired our first employee. So Joyce has just joined us from Oxford University. She just finished her PhD in similar sort of materials to what we're doing. That's going really well. It's really exciting. And she's very eager to get into the lab. So we're expecting to sign all the final contracts and be in Imperial kind of at the beginning of November. So it's been a super exciting time, even though it's been a bit of a difficult time as well. And we're just really excited to get making aerogels and getting to insulating some houses.
Yeah, and if you're a company that's interested in working with highly efficient, non-combustible insulation materials, just look us up and get in touch. So we're out there at thermulon.com. That's THERMULON. Or you can find Thermulon on LinkedIn, or just ping me an email at rosalie@thermulon.com. And we're looking forward to being in touch. Cheers. Thanks, Christina.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Thank you, Thermulon. If you want to keep laughing, you should go and listen to their episode. It's season 2, episode 2. All I remember about that episode really is how much I laughed. So go and listen to that one for sure. Just a few notes before we move along. If you want to contact Thermulon or any of the startups that you hear on this episode, I'll be leaving their links in the description. Feel free to reach out to us as well on our website or by email, and we'd be happy to connect you. Our next startup guest is from season 1, and funny enough, they were also a finalist during the 2019 ADMACOM alongside Thermulon. They are Radisurf, our lovely friends from Denmark, and they also have some really great news to share. If you've not listened to their episode or not acquainted with their technology, they are rethinking adhesion technology with their nanothin surface coatings. I like to call it super glue, but that tends to not be very descriptive enough. So if you want to learn all about it, their episode is season 1, episode 5. But for now, here's Mikkel giving us an update on Radisurf.
Yeah, thank you very much. So a short update on what has happened since our last time appearance on this show. A lot of things has happened since 2019. Mainly, we have been working a lot with our technology in 2019 and made a true breakthrough. We have been moving from a proof of concept with our technology into actually a scalable production-ready technology, so we can work directly with customers to implement our technology and have it scaled up to high volume. That also means that we have been onboarding a lot of new customers. So we have actually now 25 ongoing pilot projects with customers from different sectors. We have life science customers, we have energy sector, we have automotive in countries ranging from US, Europe, and to Asia. We have the first customer where we are moving into now a production. So in beginning of 2021, we expect to have the first customer producing products using the Radisurf technology and delivering that to customers at a higher volume. The first customer is likely going to be in the US, and then next step is customers in Europe. We have also, very importantly, since the last time, we have secured funding for the next few years in Radisurf. We have got a very big grant from the European Union through the Horizon 2020 program, an ESC grant of blended finance, where we got first 1.5 million euro to scale up our technology and bring it onto the market. That has obviously also led to a growing company. So we have grown since 2019, where we were 6 people employed in Radisurf. We are now 10 people full-time working in Radisurf. We have onboarded the first business guy on the team. So we are not only technical people now on the team. That has obviously also been leading to a lot of new developments in terms of customers. And that also means that our revenue has been growing. We have been actually making more than doubling our revenue every year since 2019. So since 2018, actually. So obviously, growing a company in the chemical industry also leads to a lot of challenges, a lot of new challenges. And especially we're looking into huge challenges in the next few months, next half year in terms of facilities where we're scaling up. So we are also looking into moving our company from our current facilities into new facilities during the next 6 months, where we'll have not only laboratory facilities, but also real production facilities. In that regard, we are, of course, looking for anybody who has good ideas of where to place a chemical company, partners who would be willing to work with us in terms of scaling up chemical production, in terms of scaling up mixing facilities, not only in Denmark and Europe, but also local partners who could be interested in working with us and broadening out our technology in US and potentially also in parts of Asia. So if you're interested in working with us, getting in contact with us, supporting us, or testing our technology, feel free to reach out to us. Look at our website at radisurf.com. Check out our LinkedIn profile. Also to look for potential new hires that will definitely also come up in the next 6 to 12 months. So happy to talk to any of you.
Thanks, Mikkel. We are so happy that the team is growing and business is chugging along. I actually asked Mikkel after we had recorded the clip if Radisurf had experienced any rough patches due to Corona, and he basically said not really. Some delays in pilot projects maybe, but just as Thermulon said, I think these times of standstill are a really great time for startups to sort of step back and check out other avenues they hadn't checked out before. So we're really happy for Radisurf, and we can't wait to see what happens next for them. Next up, our neighbors here in Berlin, Motorskins. And again, funny enough, they were also part of ADMACOM 2019 alongside Radisurf and Thermulon, and they too have been exploring new avenues during Corona time. They made masks, and I have 2 of them. Thanks, guys. So that was great, but that's not actually what they do. Just to recap, Motorskins is creating soft exoskeletons that function as external muscles. And a lot has been happening in their universe. So here's Facundo and Jose, and a shout out to Juan, who was in the room at the time of the recording, updating us about Motorskins.
Okay. Hi, Christina. It's great to talk to you again. And last time we talked, I think it was August last year when we were in the first podcast. That was actually, it was a very early stage for us. So it was great to get to know the Inam family. Back then we were part of the Design Farm Accelerator. So it's a Design Tech accelerator from Weissensee-Kunsthochschule. And I remember by the end of the podcast, you told us to apply to ADMACOM, and actually we did. And it was a super good experience. We got actually like 3 awards there, like the crowd favorite, the Sony Awards and actually the opportunity to go to the Global Innovation Summit. That for us was great. We went to China, and we highly recommend ADMACOM every time. And for us was a huge opportunity from learning from other startups that have been like walking this path for longer and to see their experience. Right now, we got this year Exist, that is a very important grant from the German state that aims to bring research out of the academia and to bring it to market. So it kind of suits us. We're very happy with that. We have the full team working full time in the project, and that's really boosting our times and our results. So we are very, very happy about that. And maybe, also you can tell us a little bit of what we're doing from the point of view of the product and the technology.
Yeah, well, last time I wasn't there, but the guys told you that we were working on this medical product, and it's still there. But the application, we realized that we could have much more impact if we actually addressed rather preclinical conditions than medical conditions. So right now we are keeping that in development as a prevention for muscle weakness. The other thing that has happened is that we are also developing a lifestyle product. We have many possibilities on how to apply our technology. So we can do sports, industry, warehouses, gaming and VR. And with all this, we decided, okay, we can focus on the exomuscle part for the medical product, but we can also do something for improved circulation, which is this lifestyle product I was mentioning. And we can also have something for feedback, for example, for people that, because of diabetes or other conditions, have lost the sensitivity in the soles of their feet. We could transfer the sensation to another area to give them that information in a different way.
Yeah, I think in that regard, what we realized that our technology can be applied to many things. Of course, as we are a startup, we need to focus our resources in one, which is, in this case is the lifestyle product for improved circulation. But our vision is much broader. So we want to tackle not only medical things, but also sports, maybe industry and warehouses. Essentially, every person that may be standing like for long periods of time. So they tend to have like problems with the circulation and having heavy legs. So we can do a lot for them, and also other fields like gaming and VR. So we can give like a better experience for users.
What are we looking for right now? Well, we are looking for research partners. So somebody that does, for example, gait analysis, or somebody in the science of movement area. To really understand how the user and the exoskeleton work with each other. Then production partners, because maybe you want to tell more about that, how we are going into the development of the garments.
Okay, yes. Right now we have an MVP that we are looking forward to try with different users, and we have pretty much, since last time we talked, improved our production method. So we have an in-house production pipeline that works quite well by now, but we know that when we want to go to the market, we need to outsource that. So that's not our bottleneck. And we're looking for production partners with experience in knitting, but also technical fabrics welding. So that will be one thing. And from January on, we are also going to open our next funding round. And so we are looking forward to get to talk also with investors or different programs that can support us.
And if you want to get in touch or have more information, you can take a look at our website, which is motorskins.com. And we are here in Motion Lab. You can come on by in Berlin.
Thanks, guys. Yes, Motorskins is housed at Motion Lab, and we did a cool episode with the ladies of Motion Lab that you can listen to on episode 23 of season 2. And if you want to find out how far Motorskins has come, check out their episode in season 1, episode 7. We're so proud of them, and we're definitely looking forward to trying on one of their exoskeletons in the near future. How exciting would that be? Now, our next startup is from the episode following Motorskins, episode 8 of season 1, Oxyfen Tech. We got to know Oxyfen through AdmaCom 2018, so it had really truly been a while since we last spoke to them. Oxyfen produces anti-frictional wear-resistant composite materials for heavy industry applications. Now, Corona has really hit heavy industry a bit hard. I didn't really know much about it until I spoke with Vlad. Oxyfen, of course, was affected, but not so much negatively. I think the hardest part for them has been the waiting. But much like what I said earlier, these strange times have also started to open up different pathways, and Vlad shares a very interesting update in terms of international cooperation that some of you might find really informative. I'll leave the rest for Vlad to explain. So here's his update on Oxyfen Tech.
Hello, guys. My name is Vladimir, and I would like to speak about what we've been up to this year, this hard year. So we produce a thermosetting wear-resistant polymer composite material, which is designed to help with bearing friction losses in heavy-duty applications. The details that we make can be used in a variety of applications in the heavy-loaded friction units, such as bearings for cranes, vanes for rotary machines, and so on. So our material helps to improve the reliability, the operational characteristics, and save and break down losses and maintenance. And we offer a cheaper and enhanced wear-resistant alternative to PEEK, PTFE, steel, Bakelite, and other friction materials. So this year started as a surprise for us because of the price war in terms of the oil in the beginning of the year. So we are really dependent on oil and gas industry because we were making special bearings for the pumps, for the electrical submersible pumps. So we were dependent on the price of oil because when the price of oil is high, we are able to sell it for more expensive, and the companies are willing to actually invest more into the maintenance of their pumps. So when the price war hit, we were really amazed because we didn't think before that it was actually possible this year because people were already starting to speak about the COVID, about the consequences it may have on the economy. So the lockdown would stop all the businesses, especially the businesses that deal with production, with the industrial kind of focus. So we thought it was not the best idea to actually initiate the price war, but we have what we have. And actually, we got very lucky at the beginning of the year because we were in the talks with one of the companies that creates the electrical submersible pumps in Russia. And we actually were able to finish the deal with them and send the details to them actually 3 days before the prices of oil went down. So that's, I guess, the luckiest part of this year for us because, with the COVID and lockdown, pretty much all of our initiatives, all of the pilots that we have right now kind of became frozen. The first pilot that we were doing, it was with a Swedish company that deals with the production of mining and drilling equipment for boring. They are kind of one of the leaders in the world in this regard. So we actually supplied them several bearings for them to test on their boring machine and to see if they can actually get rid of the lubrication chamber. So we supplied them the bearings, and then we're still waiting for them to start the tests. So we are pretty optimistic about this new direction. We haven't worked before with drilling and boring stuff, but we actually think that it has a huge potential because the world still needs, raw materials. The world needs minerals. A lot of money is invested into this part, and it's probably actually going to become a bit bigger than oil and gas for us in the upcoming years. So the next pilot that we were working was under the Fast Track program, which is a B2B startup accelerator for industrial businesses. So the way it works is that they have 4 huge family-owned companies that are located in southern Germany, in Switzerland, or Austria. And you kind of pitch them and present your technology, and then they think if they can apply it and see some sort of results in it. We actually work with one company over there. So we found actually a new application possibility for our material, which is rings and packings for sealing rings, for piston rods, for reciprocating compressors. So, it's pretty complex. So basically, it's something that doesn't let the gas or the pumped medium to spill out of the compressor. And the way it does it, it kind of spins around the rods, so it creates some sort of friction. That's why the friction materials are used over there. The company that we are doing the pilot with was using their own materials. They were using as well PEEK and PTFE, depending on the properties that were required. And they will test our material actually against PEEK and PTFE in their most demanding condition to see if we can compete with them in that part. As well, we have the same situation with this company. Due to the COVID, their testing activities have been halted. And now in October, they actually started the tests. They already purchased all the equipment that they needed. So we are very optimistic about it as well. And I guess something more interesting, that's about our international expansion. So when we conducted competitive analysis of the regions where our materials can be used, we thought that some other regions, except for Europe and maybe North America, may benefit our business and we may have some sort of competitive advantage there. So a company from Iran actually approached us and said that they have a lot of heavy industry in their country and our materials can be used to create friction elements for this heavy industry. So due to the sanction regime in Iran, they are not actually able to import all the details of the equipment as easily as some European country, for example, can do it. So that's why they have to actually rely on themselves on it, or some countries that are actually allowed to work with Iran according to the United States sanction regime. So we actually took this opportunity because the Iranian market seems very huge. The internal demand for oil, gas, for minerals, and for other applications in some industries actually exceeds the one of Russia. And also, it's very interesting that in several companies, they use some very old equipment with very old technologies in terms of friction. So they basically use steel as their friction material everywhere. So we can have the biggest benefit actually when we replace something that was made from steel. So on this week, we conducted a sales agency agreement with the guys over there who are going to represent our company in Iran. And they already have several companies from the maintenance, from oil and gas, and from compressors waiting for the first samples on the line. So we are actually very excited to start our journey to Iran because it must be a very different market from what we're used to. It might have some sort of different problems that we haven't had before, but we see a lot of potential. We see the guys that we work with who are very passionate about what they're doing. They are experts. And we hope that they are actually going to be able to improve the position of Oxofen on the Iranian market. So that's pretty much it about our development this year. We haven't been really touched by the COVID in terms of the orders volume that we already had because it did not decrease because it was mainly for maintenance. But for the parts of our business that deal with the new equipment where Oxofen is installed as kind of like the standard detail, we have seen a downturn in that regard, and we'll try to alleviate it probably next year when the economy is going to get better. So we actually hope that we are able as a country and as a whole world to overcome the COVID pandemic, and we are able to actually get back to our pilots and finish everything that we had planned for the previous year and make some new customers on the way. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Cliffhanger alert. Not sure about you guys, but I'm super curious how their adventures in Iran turns out. We might have to do another one of these catch-ups with Vlad maybe in a year or so just to find out. Our last, but definitely not least update is from the lovely Laura of Ghost Feel It. Ghost is our friendly neighborhood haptics startup. If you hadn't heard their episode, it's season 2, episode 7, and they talk about how their business has evolved from hardware to software. So here's Laura with her update about Ghost Feel It.
Hi, I'm Laura. Thanks for having me again. Really nice to be back. And I'd love to give you a little bit of an update what happened in the past few months since we've been on the show last time. First, I mean, we've been pretty active in the automotive industry as we've been last time. And we've been pushing the fact that we're not only doing projects or not only doing the hardware, but especially pushing the software and the software development. And we've come pretty far, or really far from like a year ago. Back then, we had a general idea of how the software should look like so that our customers can design vibration feedback by themselves. And now, basically, out of the 2 tools, one is already built and already done the beta testing. And the second one is now in the final touches to also start beta testing with that one. Obviously, because of Corona, a lot of the automotive industry has been on pause, but it's slowly getting back. And a lot of the talks that we had are back and more concrete. We are also going to start follow-up projects from the project that we had previously to kind of work on it further. And we've received a lot of positive feedback from the haptics industry in general, but also from our customers, especially after testing the software, because it really gives you so much more possibility and enables you really to create the best vibration feedback that you can. One of the things that we are still looking for is trying to grow the team a little bit more, especially when it comes to sales and marketing. So if anyone is interested in geeking out about how we can use a sense of touch to improve the human-machine interaction, give us a call. And how do you do that? Basically, go on our website, ghost-feel.it, so Ghost Feel It. And you can also write us an email at hello@ghost-feel.it. And there are also more contact details on how you can reach us that way. Also follow us on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever media you prefer.
Thanks, Laura. And just in case some of you out there listening are interested in working in a cool startup like Ghost, we have a job board on our website, www.enam.berlin, and you can find quite a number of open positions at startups, including some of the ones you heard on this episode. So make sure to check it out. Thanks so much for listening to part 2 of Where Are They Now? Tune in next week for another new episode. We'll be ending Season 2 after next week. We already have fun things planned for Season 3, so stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Cue the outro. Thanks for listening to Startup the Science.
If you like our show and want to know more about what we do, check out our website at enam.berlin.
And don't forget to leave us a review. Until next time.